All right, so when we're talking about market sessions, this is going to be the time where you're going to be actively trading, right? So what we have to do is pick a session for you and what suits your current lifestyle, because you need to be able to show up to this session every single day and consistently trade this one session every single day. There's obviously your three major sessions, which are going to be your Asian session, your London session, and your New York session. Now, depending on the lifestyle that you live, depending on your current work schedule, potentially you need to be able to pick one of these sessions where you can show up to every single day and consistently trade this session every single day. You can definitely change it up later on in the future when you have potentially more time to dedicate to actually trading, and you do make trading a livable income, right? You could definitely change that later on. But as of right now, you need to pick a session that suits your current lifestyle. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hop on the computer, take a look at the market sessions chart, and then we're going to act out, or not act out, but we're going to kind of plan around how you could potentially, make one of these sessions your sessions. Now, obviously, I'm going to be talking in a very broad spectrum because I don't know your current lifestyle and what type of life you live, what hours you're working, what hours you're off, whatever the case might be is, let's get into it.
All right, so here we have a chart of the actual sessions themselves. This is going to be pretty much one of the bases that we're going to be adding to our trading plan later on in the future, but you want to take notes already on how you're going to be able to choose your market session. So let's kind of ignore the Sydney session for now because it's really not that important, right? What we're going to be focusing on is the Tokyo session, we're going to be focusing on the London session, and the New York session. So notice how we have the London and the New York session. These are going to be our two major sessions. This is where we're going to see most of the volume actually traded within the market. Now, 41% of all foreign transactions happen during the London session, and then the rest happens during the New York session, right? Now, so when it comes down to actually picking a session, you need to look at your current lifestyle. Let's go based off of somebody who works potentially, let's say, a 9-to-5 job, which should be the majority of people. So we know that we're going to be busy from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. right? So trading New York session, let's put this in perspective. Trading New York session is going to be a little bit more difficult. Now, if you're somebody who potentially works from home or you have access to a computer, it's possible. For your day traders and your swing traders, it's something that's definitely possible as well, because when we're coming into day trading, we're talking about day trading, we're looking at entering at specific levels, and what we could do is set alerts. Once price is at that level, we can maybe even monitor it from our phone and look and wait to take an entry from our phone, because the most important part is entering, setting your stop loss, setting your take profit, and then the rest from there, you're kind of just sitting on your hands. So if I were to be working a 9-to-5, right, this is how I would potentially do things if I was going to be trading the New York session, and maybe you can take your own notes and see how you can incorporate this into here, right? Now, theoretically, the best session to trade, in this situation, if you're trading 9-to-5, would be the London session, where you would have to take a nap, but things could be very difficult there. So let's kind of focus on the New York session here. So you need to set a time to do your pre-market analysis. So from 7 a.m. to about 7:30 is where we're going to be doing our pre-market analysis. Now, we're going to be learning about all of this later on, but this is pretty much where we're going to be coming onto the chart, and we're going to be looking for a setup. We're going to be marking off the chart and waiting for what potential setups we could see, determining market direction overall, and then we're going to be getting ready to actually take the trade of the day. Here we're going to determine what type of risk we're going to be using on that trade. We're going to be determining the risk to reward ratio on the trade. We're going to be determining how big the move could potentially be. We're going to be reading price action, marking off our charts, and just performing technical analysis overall. Along with this 7 a.m. chart, 7 to 7:30 a.m. time frame, what you're going to be doing is your fundamental analysis as well, making sure that there's going to be no high impact news to interfere with your actual trade. So from 7 a.m. to 7:30, you're going to be actively monitoring or actively working on reading the actual chart itself. Now from 7:45 a.m. till about, again, it's going to be very difficult because, everybody's life is so different. Some people may actually have to be on their way to work at 7 a.m., but this is just how I would do things. From 7:45 a.m. to about 8 a.m., I already have my levels marked off and I already know what I'm looking for, and I'm simply going to be waiting for my entry. So we're going to be actively monitoring from 7:45 a.m. till about 8:45 a.m. We're going to be looking for an entry. Now, this doesn't mean that if time passes 8:45 a.m., we're no longer looking for an entry, right? But let's just say we make our entry by then. Then you can set your stop loss. Then you can set your take profit. And day trading, you're typically trading based off of an hour time frame, based off of a 30-minute time frame. What you could do is set an alarm every hour to just kind of check on the trade and monitor it, right? Or every 30 minutes if you want to be a little bit more on top of the trade, which I highly recommend, right? So we have our pre-market time, which is important. This is also important as well because we have to wait for our execution. But once we have our execution and we actually take the trade, we set our stop loss level, we set our take profit levels, and then we set an alarm for every 30-minute candle close. So if you take a trade at 9 a.m., right, you're going to be setting an alarm for 9:30 a.m., right, looking at the trade, checking the chart, seeing how price is moving, determining if you should continue to hold or determining if you should actually close, right? So now that that's done, right, we're pretty much done. Let's just say we're done for the day. Our trade hit stop loss, our trade hit take profit, whatever the case might be, is you needed time to come back into the market, right? And when it comes to day trading, is what we're learning here. We're not learning scalping. Scalping, you have to literally be on your computer actively monitoring your trade, right? Because you're closing trades within minutes here. We're closing trades within 4, 5, 6 hour period, right? My longest trade I ever ran was a few days, but just kind of giving you guys the example here, your average trade, day trading is probably going to last anywhere between 30 minutes to, a few hours. Let's leave it at 8 hours, right? Sometimes your trades may roll over to the next day. But let's say you get out of work and, your trade is done, you've hit your take profit, or your stop loss has been hit, whatever the case might be, is you need a time where you can come back into your computer, journal, and look to see how you could involve yourself with doing your post-market analysis. So our post-market analysis is pretty much all we're simply doing is we're going to be reflecting on the previous day or on the previous trading day or that current trading day, seeing on areas where you could improve and taking journal of your actual trade, taking screenshots, and you're going to learn how to journal and everything else later on. But later on, once you actually get there, just come back to this video so you could incorporate this in your trading plan. So in this situation here, let's say it takes you 30 minutes to get home, right? We're going to be doing our post-market analysis at 6 p.m., right? This is where we're going to be pretty much planning for the day ahead and reflecting on the previous day. So let's say you're looking for a price to pull back into a level of structure to take a short, right? You're going to mark that off in your journal and you're going to plan for that day, so you already have it marked off, and in the morning you're going to see how the market's moved so far and if that trade you planned out previously is still valid. And that's simply all we're going to be doing, right? Now you need to choose one of these sessions. Now let me give you an example of how I do my London session, because I trade London session as of right now because my lifestyle allows me to. So at 1 a.m. is typically when I come on the markets and I'm actively trading. So actually, let's start from 12 p.m. So 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 hours before market open, is when I actually perform my pre-market analysis. So I'm going to put pre right here and then M for market analysis, MA. So 12 p.m. is when I'm doing my pre-market analysis. And again, this is for the London session, right? So I'm actively going to be trading from 3 a.m. till about midday. Right now, notice how this rolls over to the next day, because the London session and the New York session actually overlap, and this is when you're going to see the most volatility within the market. London session typically dies off around this time, around 5 a.m., and we won't really see much movement until about 8 a.m., 9 a.m. So, right. So 12 p.m. is when I'm performing my pre-market analysis. I'm performing my technical analysis. I'm reviewing to see if my previous trading day went well, how I can improve and make sure not to make those same mistakes on this trading day, along with checking up on yesterday's setup to see if it's currently playing out on today's trading day. Now from 1 a.m., what I'm doing is I'm actively trading, right? So I'm waiting for my position. I'm taking an entry, I'm moving stop losses. So from 1 a.m. forward till typically about 3 a.m., I'm looking for an entry in the market because I already have a hypothesis on where the market direction is going to head, and all I'm simply doing is waiting for my entry. I'm like a sniper hiding in the bush, just simply waiting to pull the trigger on my trade. I already know where my stop loss is going. I already know where I'm going to get out if I'm wrong. I already know where I'm going to get out if I'm right, and it's literally that simple from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. And then from there, I'm just constantly actively monitoring my position. So that's how I actively trade so far. Now, when it comes to me doing my post-market analysis, I actually do my post-market analysis whenever I wake up. Typically around 6 p.m. is when I do my post-market analysis. So let's just do post-MA market analysis. So hopefully you guys got a gist or a grasp of how you could pick your trading session. Again, it all depends on your lifestyle. You know, if you have a 9 to 5 and you want to trade London session, you know, and your sleeping schedule can allow it, go for it. Again, but you have to pick that one session and just consistently trade that one session. So hopefully you guys did benefit off of this video. Hopefully, you know, you make the right decision on your session because you do need enough sleep to actively, you know, perform in the markets, because this is, you know, a very stressful and, you know, mind-numbing career. So, you know, typically from, you know, 10 p.m. to 12 p.m. I take a little bit of a nap. I do also make sure I get a minimum of 6 hours of sleep before I actually start trading. So, or at least 6 hours of sleep within that day. Typically 8 hours. I allow my body to get 8 hours of sleep just so I'm fully aware, alert, and I'm, you know, making the most logical decisions as possible. So, anyways, I will see you in the next video.